And we're live.
All right, welcome everybody.
Welcome back.
This is Starry Eyes, the Aether Workshop podcast where we give tips and tricks about animation stuff that you guys sent in. I am Sprite Star, and we have Wishstream.
Hello. Okay. Alright, so let's get the show on the road. What do we have on the start here?
Alright, just double check the list here. Okay. Start things off strong. We got we're gonna start off with the old stick figure guy.
Let's get the Maybe have it on the screen. I can't see it.
Yeah, it should be on the screen now, yeah.
There we go. I think. I can't see it. Oh, he's like... Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, I could see it.
A little bit of a delay.
So what we got here is a stick fighter as well, right? Yep. Stick fighter with transformable weapons. I don't know who he is. I don't know who this is.
Yeah, I don't know the exact stick figure, but this one was sent in a little bit ago. This is a fairly old submission, I believe. And where is it?
One of the creators from Yo-Yo, I believe.
Yeah, definitely running with the pack with that one. But yeah, just a back air animation. You know, nothing too crazy. Is there any input that you would like to give onto this one?
Okay, let's see. So the first thing I would actually, I've seen it again, over and over again. It kind of like, I don't know, it's perfect for me. I don't really see any problems. It's probably just me. I mean, I'm not nitpicking here. Maybe it's just that the silhouette with the hand is blending into the leg.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's actually pretty perfect. It's actually pretty smooth.
This is a very sturdy submission that was sent in.
Maybe the consistency of the scythe is a bit off, but no, it's moving. It's a transformable figure, so I don't see anything wrong. This one, it's just me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The only thing that I would probably like call towards would just be kind of a little bit of an overshoot on the body, on the frame where the scythe is starting to form outside of the motion blur. But at that point, that's just polishing. On its own, it's a very solid submission. It's a very solid animation. So anything after that would be just extra polish.
Yeah, it's really just polish.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go with the next one.
Okay, just to double check the listing here. Yeah, this one needs some work. I already can tell you. It's the Shadow the Hedgehog submission that was sent
in. The one exactly from Sonic Battle.
Yep.
And modified to do a what kind of move again?
It seems
special?
Yeah, of some sort, yeah. Either that or it's a down special. Not down special, down strong. Let me double check on this.
Up smash. It says it's going for a chic up smash. So immediately right away, the motion blur isn't right at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't use motion blurs like that. You need to do it like with quick swipes and not elongated until like it's in the position. It's there to be snappy. It's to be fast, not to be slow. And you're using like multiple sprites for the same thing on the wrong kind of length. Well, I wouldn't say wrong kind of length. It's more of like, did you notice that it looks like it's angling out of nowhere?
Yeah, it's a I actually know exactly how these animations specifically are made, because that's kind of how I got started. The motion blur isn't like a custom made motion blur. Is actually like from another set of sprites from a completely different sprite sheet, if I remember correctly. Just manipulated in order to fit this one. The motion blur in and of itself, even just like taking away that fact, is like unevenly placed. Like it kind of like snaps outward more than it needs to. And also there's some pixels where the blur is moving. Yeah, it's some pixels are just in a weird place. There's a lot of things I could call out for this, but I'll let you continue on.
So for me, it's mostly the timing, the motion blur. There, is it motion blur? I keep forgetting the term for it, but I'm gonna call it motion blur for now.
Yeah.
Is that it stays there for too long.
Yeah.
Motion blurs are usually used for like when you're doing very quick swipes. Very quick, sometimes a bit slow, but not that slow. And that's why you've seen here it's like an uneven motion blur, because they're trying to like fit it to like every single frame of the animation, so it won't work.
Yeah.
And other than that, the foot position is inconsistent too. It's like it's moving in place too much. Realistically, you won't do that. You should be at least moving one leg towards a position, unless you're moving both legs. But here it just jitters. And that's pretty much it. Since it's like a sprite that you made from pre-existing parts already of a sprite sheet. So
yeah,
I wouldn't judge too much. It's just a matter of like really fixing your timing and making sure that the motion blur is consistent. You should check videos about how to do fighting animations. Even for a sprite sheet like that, it's very important to understand those concepts in order for it to look good.
Yeah. This is a case of just doing more research on animation, and just knowing that knowledge in and of itself will help out. I can definitely be a testament to this, because I kind of got started on editing and then recreating these exact sprites. So, yeah, you can learn a lot from just knowing like tidbits about animation. My kind of like input for this, and I know I might just be asking for a little too much because of just personal experience, but for the poses here, everything is just kind of like stagnant. Like there's just one pose, you just stand straight, and then it goes to the other pose, and it just holds there for like 4 frames as like the motion blur or smears are trying to catch up, and it just like snaps back into another pose and then back to idle. Even though this also depends on what kind of program you're using. If you're like using like Sprite or like Photoshop even, it might be a little easier for you to like manipulate these frames frame by frame. I don't know much else about other programs, but I'm sure it can be done. But just moving some pixels like in certain directions, Like, for example, having Shadow lean back slightly when he's moving backward, like bending backwards. Maybe have the arms like moving closer to the body with like rotating the arms towards the legs, and just like adding one more frame between him leaning all the way back and before he's about to lean forward. Well, stand up straight. And that will definitely help with there. But outside of the smear and the leg positioning, I think in order for this animation to look as best as it can, even with it being sprites from Sonic Battle, just moving pixels around and making everything seem make everything flow would definitely help, because the job of an animator is to take like something that doesn't exist and make it look like it does exist. So just manipulating frames to make it look like he's not just 4 images there on a screen, and more so just like the Shadow the Hedgehog fighting, then it'll definitely help out with this animation and future animations after. So yeah. Alright, if there's anything else that we need to cover, we can move on to the next one.
No, let's just move into the next one.
Alright.
Alright.
Let's hope that it's too big. Okay. Alright, we got Fairy? Farai?
Very Fury. I don't know how to.
Yeah, pronunciation is not my pronunciating things isn't my strong suit. But we have a nice little twirl animation.
It's Fairy by Azazel Fire.
Yes.
Okay, so we got a basic simple spin over here. You got pretty much most of the fundamentals down. I mean, it's not bad at all, but if it's gonna be, I'm not sure if it's gonna be like a fast spin or a slow spin, but I do recommend it. I do recommend that you add some, just to give it a bit more oomph, is to add smears to the arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the hair is like sticking like quite stiffly on the head. That should be being swayed by the wind as you spin, so It should be angled instead. That's all for me.
On top of those two, because I'm following the motion of the hair and how you're making the head spin, and then also the arms, you kind of cut corners by not animating the skirt, and there's not much animation going on the legs. So if you could like give the skirt and the legs the same kind of treatment, it would more so look like the whole body is spinning instead of like her being a Beyblade and just like spinning on like a pivot, like at the waist, because that's where all the motion's at. But once you get to like the skirt, it's just a single image. I
just realized the skirt was stiff. You didn't notice that? Oh my god. Yeah.
I'm sure in game, like once you're actually like using these sprites in game, it's very hard to notice that because everything's so fast, and then also the animation is moving at the same time, like past how the animation is, so it's gonna be a little hard to like for the normal eye to just pick that out. But in order for you to sell the entire animation, you should probably animate the rest of the body too. That would definitely help with that. Also, a little tip for animating the hair to look like it's following along with the wind. Find a frame. It could literally be any of these frames since it's a looping animation. But find a frame and just take the tail, like the tail end of the ponytail, and kind of set it where a nice like arc would be. Animations look the best when it's in some sort of arc. It doesn't have to be like a gigantic arc or anything. It could be a very subtle arc, but it's definitely better than it being in like a straight line back and forth. Best way to do that would just have like another layer on whatever program you're using, draw like a guideline for the ponytail, and just like change each of the ponytail's frames to follow along that line, an orbit if you will. But yeah.
Right, I think we're going this one.
Yep. Okay, just gonna. Okay, we got an interesting one. Not gonna lie, this character is a very interesting character. I haven't seen much of him, her, plant dude, and this idol is.
I love this idol.
This idol is really good.
It just emanates creepy and slow, and I love it.
Yeah, this is a very dynamic pose, and I already like you and Geek do the same thing with how you're animating the body, and instead of doing it like an idiot would, me, and try to like do the whole thing in one go, you're doing it in parts, and it shows because it looks a lot more fluid.
I think there's advantages to doing that, and I love it.
Yeah, this is a very solid like entry into this.
Yeah, this is one of those things where they post something like they want us to give feedback, but in this case, like I can't find any.
Yeah, this is a very, especially for an idle animation, this sells the character so much. The hardest thing for a lot of like modders, especially like submissions that we are sent in, especially for idols, is that you have the idol animation down, but it doesn't really sell the personality and like what the character is going to do. Like for Astra, she's like swaying back and forth, and then like the cloak is moving around. Like you see the personality and how she moves, and same with Olympia because she's just like fucking bouncy and ready to go. One of the tips that I have always kept in mind when I'm making like animations of any sort is that like the personality sells just as much as the animation itself, and you're doing a fantastic job at that.
And there's so many things I love about this animation. So, the really good use of subpixel animation to get the subtle movements just right, and as well as the it just flows. It just flows really well.
Yeah,
and it's a really good use. Like, how many frames is this?
I'm guessing this is around like 8, maybe 10 frames, but like it looks like it goes for a long time, and that's the beauty of trying to do the beauty of doing subpixel animation like very well, because it looks like it's so fluid that it just has like 1,000 frames going on because it looks like it. But yeah, no, this is a very, very solid animation. I really don't know what else to tell you. Just keep adding on to it. Like, this is a very, very good submission. Very good submission.
Alright, let's proceed to the next one.
Alright. Next we have the old boy Sonic the Hedgehog. Another Sonic character on this podcast. This time is a custom sprite. And another idle animation at that.
There's a lot of fun to this, right?
Yeah.
Is this like one of the newer ones? Yeah, it is one of the newer ones.
Yeah, this is one of the new ones. I tried to pick out from both the old and new.
Alright, so this is made by Rice, who's making Sonic, Starfy, and Swordman. I believe they're the ones responsible to the Swordsman that we did a few episodes ago.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah. Alright, so first of all, my recommendation here is just the keyframes. Because like right now it doesn't seem like you have a sense of keyframes. And it's like it's all over the place, right? Hair is in the wrong timing, the hands are moving wrongly, you're bouncing at in an accurate pace. I wouldn't say inaccurate, more of like it feels wrong.
Yeah, it's a stiff looking animation despite it having a good little bit of frames.
The hands are not moving as they should be. In fact, they look like they snap in place too much. Like it's the most jarring thing out of the entire animation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hair is another one. The spikes is another one. There we go. The spikes looks like they don't bounce normally. Like you doing a transition before the bounce instead of the bounce itself. Like it stops in the bounce. That's what I mean. The legs are fine though.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. The legs are fine. Other than that, it feels like, as well as like the general movement, like it feels like like it doesn't feel like Sonic at all.
Yeah.
It feels like what would be Knuckles would be doing when it comes to their idol as well.
Yeah.
How about your opinion, Star? I mean, mine's a bit too vague here. Maybe you could find something.
There's I know this is the podcast is focused on more so the animation rather than the art itself. Just the overall form of it is just off. Like for example, the head's kind of like weirdly shaped, probably like moving up a couple of pixels would probably help it not look like Sonic has like a dent in his head. But just like cleaning up the overall like sprite itself would help out. All right, never mind. I was just checking something. We should be good now. Yeah, we should be good. All right. Yeah. Other than how the spines are bouncing and everything like that, honestly, I would just say to get the torso and the legs down packed. Maybe using some of that subpixel animation you were using on Swordman to help smooth everything out, and then on like another layer, then add the arms, but don't have them like doing whatever like motion that they're doing. It's fine to have like the arms being stationary. You don't have to have the entire body always moving at different points. Especially at like a beginner and even to an intermediate level. It's completely fine to do it like the classic Sonic way where his hands are always like at his waist. And he's kind of just like standing there. Another thing would kind of be a more advanced tip, but it'll definitely help with the whole personality point. Is try to have like the bounce have the bounce of Sonic so that he'll be moving kind of like forward and back. A perfect example would be Smash Ultimate's idol for Sonic. That's a really good idol, and it's similar to this one. Um, but this is just definitely like a look at reference kind of thing, and try to emulate what you see. You got a solid idea on what you want. It's the execution is kind of a miss, but it is a very you can recover from this. Like, this is not a scrap it kind of thing. This is like, this sprite, this animation can be saved. You could definitely like improve on it without needing to like trash it and make a new one. But yeah, just fixing those things would definitely help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I believe we have one more left. And from what I can see, this one's kind of an ambitious one.
Oh, fine. It's the same creator from Zeta.
Yeah.
Actually.
This is I don't know if this is like a completely new character or what, but yeah, this is.
It is a completely new character. Like, this is like some kind of this universe from their own series. If you guys don't know, like, Zeta is a original character, but isn't for Rivals.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel that she runs about all these what's going on with their stories and such. And yeah. All right. So first of all, I noticed that like everything that basically the animations that the author of Zeta makes with is that like I feel like they're just resized down and then like traced on top of it without being cleaned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of shows. Because like there's like some parts that are inconsistent, like the head size. Like at one point it looks like it changes size or like it gets stretched. Then the ears is the most obvious part of it, even though like it flows and smooths, definitely. And there's a lot of things that are of course problematic in this animation, but at the same time it's like also pretty okay. Like, honestly, this would pass very nicely too.
Yeah, that's the thing with this creator's like work, is that from yours and my perspective on animation, especially in how we made like Astra and Olympia, we wouldn't do this particular style of animation where it's just like actually squashing and stretching out the object or the character itself, but it also has that kind of its own charm to it. Like, it, it's wrong, but it looks right. I do feel like there's ways that you can like mask it a little bit, mainly with like some kind of extra like add on to like the angle of the head, like if the head is like looking more towards up during an attack or looking more towards down during an attack. Even doing something as like changing like certain segments of a sprite while still doing the same technique will definitely help out. And I know you're doing this because that smear is godlike. That is a really good smear.
I know, right? Like, it gives so much personality compared to like the rest of like the Rivals of Aether crew and like all of the animations we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's there. It's like, this is one of those examples where it just gives the character personality.
Yeah.
Right?
And not only does it give the character personality, but it also distinguishes yourself from like all the other characters just from how you've made that animation.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also the, like, I love the bounce on it. Like, I love the bounce of the motion itself. It works. It's really nice. It's really smooth. The movement of everything else is also like on the spot, and like even the hair. Like, you got the hair down to a T. It's just that sometimes it looks like it feels like it's a sketch face. Like one thing that I do notice, like there's some missing shading. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why I notice more. That's why it looks a bit rough. Like I know that's an animation channel, an animation podcast, but
Yeah.
you can't help it sometimes. Then there's also the like again the unusual squash and stretch of the head. Like there is a way to do it, but sometimes there's like ways that it would look like it's just being stretched instead of like it's moving.
It also like goes into the context of what the character is. Like if it was like, I don't know, like the person that was making Spinel or like Cuphead or any of these rubber hosey characters that is made to be a cartoon, this would be completely fine. Like having the like parts of the body just like squashing and stretching along with the motion of the body, that would work. Something tells me this character isn't supposed to be like a cartoon. Like it, I'm quite sure we're gonna get a bunch of anime in the chat, but like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, the kind of animation that you're doing, especially with like the head, kind of contradicts what the character is supposed to be, just from a visual standpoint. So I think we've come to a unanimous decision on saying that just like cleaning up just the head of the sprite, like the head on each of the frames, would help mask not only the direction that you're taking for the animation, but also just like make it overall cleaner. So yes.
Yep, pretty much what I'm going to say anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, amazing animation, by the way. I believe the name is Sai, like from the Japanese Sa and E.
Yeah.
Sai. Yeah, and I believe that's all of it.
Yeah.
Right?
That'll be all. Yeah, that'll be all of our submissions for this week. We are definitely getting caught up. We're trying not to do like 20 at a time, but yeah, I think this pace is really good. We're giving a lot of information to animators. But yeah, this will conclude our podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Next time, we'll be taking some more of the older submissions, get fully caught up, and then we'll be accepting more newer submissions. Yeah, this is a Sprite Star and Wish Dream. Yeah.
And remember to shine away and keep it simple, guys.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Mm-hmm.